Hey everyone, what does Jimmy Buffett and Jimmy Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast, have in common? Well, you're going to have to stay tuned to find out because it's another episode of Pop Culture Weekly Wrap Up.
Starting transmission.
This week there was a lot of announcements for San Diego Comic Con. So, to kind of just keep it all together and not have this video go for several hours, so for this video, we're going to exclusively talk about San Diego Comic Con exclusives that were announced this past week. First up, we have Factory Entertainment, and this one had a couple of really cool things for those collectors out there. The first up they have is the Star Trek original series Catspaw Enterprise prop replica. This is going to cost you around $100, and what this is from that Halloween episode from the original series of Star Trek. This little limited edition collectible item is going to be kind of like encased in like acrylic, and it's going to be a very screen accurate of the USS Enterprise. It's really neat, little design. I mean, I like this a lot. I'm not very familiar with the episode that's referring to. It's been a very long time since I've watched the original series. But I do collect a little bit of Star Trek memorabilia here and there. It's kind of neat. The $100 price tag is kind of a little pricey, but I'm going to see what it looks like in person before I pick it up. In addition, we're also getting two really neat bottle openers from Factory Entertainment. So the first one is the Peacemaker bottle opener. Yes, this little bottle opener is based off the Peacemaker helmet. It's going to run about $22. It's actually fully metal, and it actually has a magnet on it to stick to the fridge. And the next item that's also a bottle opener is from Star Trek The Next Generation. This is the Cricket Phaser, and this is the kind of little bottle opener that looks really neat. It looks like the phaser gun from Star Trek Next Generation. It's pretty cool. And if you're a Star Trek fan, it's meant to have, This is also going to cost you about $22, and you know what? This might be something you want to add to your little collection. The one thing I am very excited about is the Back to the Future prop replica. This is like a scaled down version of the plutonium case. I collect a lot of things Back to the Future, and I really do want to have one of these in my collection. This is going to cost me about $60 at the convention, and is an officially licensed Back to the Future product. Yeah, so this product is about 3.5 inches tall to about 3 inches wide. So it's pretty small, about the size of a Funko Pop, basically. And it's going to be made out of solid metal. This is really neat. I'm really looking forward to picking up this. I like having little memorabilia from Back to the Future. So it's going to be a really cool one to add to my collection. Next up, we have from Super 7, we have a couple of really cool reaction figure type toys. So for Godzilla fans out there, we have a 3.75-inch Godzilla reaction figure that is based off a vintage model kit. It's really neat looking. It is inspired by the kits from 1960. And you know what, though? If you're a Godzilla fan and you like having little kits like this, I think you're really going to want to pick this up. In addition, they do have a Godzilla versus Jet Jaguar 2-pack. These, again, are very much reaction figure type toys. And it's pretty neat looking. It has a little background on it, and it looks pretty cool. And rumor has it, we may be getting Jet Jaguar in the next Godzilla XCOM movie. So, I might want to start picking up that Jet Jaguar collectibles pretty soon. In addition, we're also getting the Shogun Godzilla Ultimate figure. This is the vintage red version, and this is pretty neat too. I do like this one. It has the little mouth, the little flames, it has a fist that flies. I don't know why. Godzilla has flying fists. I mean, he flies on his tail. Why not have a flying fist? But this is pretty cool looking. They're based off the Shogun toys from I think the 1970s, I believe. So that's really cool. If you guys are collectibles in these type of figures, I'm going to recommend you get out to Super 7 at San Diego Comic Con. You're going to want to pick these up. Prices for these have not been announced yet, so I'm not too sure how much it's going to cost. And last but not least, this is probably my favorite thing coming from Super 7. If you are a Nintendo player, so you used to play the original Nintendo, I don't know if you remember a game called Town and Country Surf Designs, Wood and Water. I know, what's a ridiculous mouthful. So this video game that came out for Nintendo, had you either surfing or riding a skateboard. There was a gorilla, and there was a guy in a tiki mask that would go surfing, and a really fun game. I loved playing this game when I was younger. It's probably one of my fondest memories when playing Nintendo. So I am actually looking forward to this figure. And this is the figure that's coming out is Thriller Gorilla. Yep, that is the gorilla with the cap, the flap, and everything on it. I mean, this is awesome. I really do love this figure. This is something I will be picking up for my collection. Again, prices haven't been announced yet from Super 7, but you know what? I believe it's probably the first action figure from this video game. And it's about time. We need stuff like this. And you know what? I love everything about this because of the surfboard, you know? I wish he had like a skateboard too, because he does skateboard in the game. But you know what? I'll take the surfboard. That's what he's most remembered for. He's even the surfing gorilla that's on the cover of the NES game too. That's so awesome. I love this figure. I love everything about it. And this is a must pick up for me. Next up, we have McFarlane Toyz. This one, they're actually releasing a 7-inch statue of Superman. And the statue is a replica of the Centennial Park tribute statue for Superman in Adventure Superman number, I believe, 499, which was A Funeral for a Friend. You see that the statue on the cover is a gold statue of Superman, and he has the eagle in his hand. This is a really cool cover and very reminiscent of many things about the Death Superman story arc. This would probably be a pretty cool statue to get. I might actually get one of these at San Diego Comic-Con and have it right over there with Batman and Harley Quinn on that side. So keep an eye out if I do get one. I'm able to get my hands on this. So here are a couple of little other small things that are coming out to San Diego Comic-Con. If you're a fan of bag clips, I would recommend going to Monogram. So Monogram is a little company that has these little bag clip figures. They do little mystery bags that you can find maybe at Box Lunch, a Hot Topic, Walmart. What they're going to have is a Deadpool Wolverine lanyard set, which includes some enamel pins, a little back clip, a lanyard. This is limited to 700 pieces. It's going to cost you about $20. Next up, a really neat one. If you're a Barbie fan out there, you actually want to get the Barbie 65th anniversary gift set. This little gift set has a little back clip, some enamel pins, a lanyard also. And this one is only limited to 300. And this is a little more hefty price tag at $40. Poppy's Playtime is coming out with these little foam back clips. And the set's going to run about $25. There is only a limit of 300 pieces. This is going to be really neat to grab if you're a fan of Poppy's Playtime. All right, next up, for the Hallmark ornament collectors out there, there's a couple of different Hallmark ornaments coming out. And two that really stood out to me is this very much cool gold Sega Genesis set. I don't know. I pretty much love the little classic consoles. And this design is pretty cool. I do love the fact that it's like an actual Sega Genesis looking design. Has controllers. I think it has a Sonic video game in it too. I don't know. I like this one. It's really neat. This keepsake ornament is limited to 3,200 pieces, and it's going to cost you about $35 at the convention. And last but not least, hey, Deadpool Wolverine comes out in a couple of weeks. So, of course, they had to have some Deadpool Wolverine figures. So, they have a keepsake ornament, which is going to be an unmasked Wolverine. And this one is going to be limited to 3,200 also, and it's going to cost you about $35 too. All right. So next up, we have the exclusives are being released from Beast Kingdom. And these statues are really cool. First up, they do have a Rick and Morty figure coming out. So these two figures are from the 6th episode of the 3rd season of Rick and Morty, from the Thickest Rest and Rick's Laxation episode. And that's where the design for the Rick and Morty are coming from this episode. They glow in the dark. There's a lot of articulation to these figures. I like them a lot. The price tag is pretty hefty at $59.99 each. So, you know what? If you really do want to grab one of these, they are kind of pricey. But you know what, though? You're getting good quality with that. Next up is really cool looking Batman. This is the Batman from Batman Returns, but it has that cool blue and gray style suit, and it's going to be metallic. Now, this is also going to cost you $59.89. But you know what, though? Really neat. Looks very articulated, too, in here. And I think this is probably something for those Batman fans. If you're collecting Batman statues or figures, you might want to pick this up. Because, you know what? It's going to sell out pretty quickly, I believe. And last but not least, there's this really cool Lord of the Rings figure. This is the figure is of the Dark Lord Sauron, Fire of Mount Doom. And I don't know. This figure is amazing. But it's going to stand about 11.4 inches. And the detail on this figure is amazing. Just look at it. It has really cool, articulated design to it. And he also has a ring of power on his finger if you look very closely. I don't know. I'm a very big fan of this line. And this figure is going to run you a lot of money. The price tag on this one is going to be $110. Whew. But you know what, though? Just look at it. You get an amazing design for that price. So, next up, the next big toy company is Hasbro. Now, they have a lot of really cool designs and new figures coming out for San Diego Comic Con, and you don't want to miss out on these. So, for the Star Wars fans out there, they're going to have a Darth Maul with the Sith Speeder. Try saying that 6 times fast. Wee. And this is going to cost you about $59.99. And this is really cool looking. It has like that, everything you expect from the Black Series, and much, much more. If you are collecting figures from the Black Series and you're a big fan of the first Star Wars prequel, Phantom Menace, you love Darth Maul, this is something you're going to want to pick up for your collection. Next up, for the G.I. Joe Classified series, we are getting Cobra Commander that is inspired from the G.I. Joe movie, where he's mutating into the snake creature. He takes off the mask and he starts turning into like a really cool looking snake creature. I don't know. To be honest, I don't remember the movie that well. So I don't quite remember this scene. But oh my goodness, this figure looks amazing. We don't get many Cobra Commander figures out there. The ones we get are very basic. I love the fact they're taking a very specific scene from the movie and actually transforming it into an actual figure. And you know what? It looks amazing. I really love the design. I love the figure. If I collected G.I. Joe figures, this is probably one I would want to pick up for my collection. Next up, on the other side of that, we have Transformers, robots in disguise. Now, for the Transformers, we're getting a Transformers Legacy United Voyager class Fractured Friendship 2-pack. This is going to contain Orion Pax, aka Optimus Prime, and Megatron, and like a really cool looking battle pose. They're fighting each other. Each one is going to transform into a Cybertron like ship or something like that. These are based off the design for War of Cybertron. But I really like these. Again, I don't really collect a lot of Transformers, so I'm not going to be adding this to my collection. This 2-pack is going to cost you about $74.99. So if you are a big fan of these, this is something you'll want to pick up. And last but not least, for Hasbro, another Transformer. However, this Transformer is actually going to be part, wait for it, the Marvel Legends line. You're probably wondering, what? Transformers and Marvel are not in the same toy line? No, they are not. So, this character is based off the old Marvel Transformer comics. So back in the day, Marvel actually owned the rights to create Transformer comic books. So this character is from that series. And this is Death Hand. He was kind of like a bounty hunter. Really neat. I do like the figure. I love the fact that they're putting this in with the actual Marvel Legends line. You don't normally see that. Usually the Marvel Legends line is mainly just Marvel figures. So it's really neat that we're going to get a Transformer part of this line. You know what? It looks pretty badass also. I gotta say that. I'm going to say it flat out. It looks pretty badass. You know what, though? If I collect a lot of the Marvel Legends lines, this is probably one I want to pick up and add to my collection. This one is going to cost you about $39.99. You know what? I think that's pretty much worth it. So if you're a fan of Transformers and the Marvel Legends line, I'm going to recommend you pick this up because this is going to be pretty cool. Again, a lot of the Hasbro figures will probably show up online, whatever doesn't sell at the convention. So if you're not going to San Diego Comic Con, keep an eye out on the Hasbro Pulse website. That's where you'll be able to see pre-orders for a lot of these figures, and you may be able to pick them up after the convention. Another really cool toy company that has some pretty good licenses is Mezco. I have a couple of Crow action figures from Mezco, and they're pretty cool. I love the design, I love the articulation on them. They do come with some clothing. If you're not able to own Hot Toys or Sideshow collectible toys, Mezco is not that bad. Mezco is going to be coming out with a G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Commando Edition. This figure looks really cool. It is articulated. It has like actual fabric for clothing, multiple hands, weapons, little explosions for the weapons too. This is going to be really pricey at coming in at $112 at Comic-Con. But you know what? If you're a G.I. Joe fan and you like those like the 12-inch figures, I would recommend picking this up. So next up, we have Kidrobot. Now, Kidrobot does a lot of designer toy figures. So you know, with their figures comes quality and a pretty big price tag on these. So first up, we're getting a 5-pack of Goth South Park characters. And they glow in the dark. I don't know why, but I do love these figures. They're a little fun. They're like little goth versions of Stan, Kyle, Cartman. I don't know. I love them a lot. They glow in the dark too, which is really cool. This is actually going to be pretty pricey at $49.99, but this is only going to be limited to 500 pieces. That is such a small piece count, and I'm thinking if you are collecting a lot of these figures, that's a very low piece count. In addition to those South Park figures, you're also getting another South Park figure. And this one's going to be 8 inches. It's the psychedelic edition of Towley and his vase. Vase. You know, from his allergies. If you know what I mean. This is really cool. I like this a lot. There's been a lot of Towley figures coming from Kidrobot in the past and from other toy lines. They're all fun to have. Take a look at it. Look at this. This is a really neat design. I love it. This one is going to be running you around $69.99. No, a pretty big price tag on that one. And this was only limited to 500 pieces also. For the Hello Kitty fans out there, I don't want to leave you out. There's some cool Hello Kitty stuff coming out too for San Diego Comic-Con, especially from Kidrobot. For the 50th anniversary of Hello Kitty, we're getting a Hello Kitty and Mimi heart plush. This plush is about 13 inches and it's limited to only 300 pieces. That's a super low piece count. And because of how limited it is, it's actually going to run you $64.99. I know, it's a lot of money for a 13-inch plush, but you know what though? If you're fans of Hello Kitty and plushes, it's probably one you're going to add to your collection, you know? And also for Hello Kitty fans, we're getting an 8-inch plush that is a clear shell robotic Hello Kitty. This thing looks really neat. It actually looks pretty cool with it being the clear shell and you got a little figure in there. This is going to be limited to 500 pieces and cost you about $84.99. Can't tell you, if you're a Hello Kitty fan, you might want to pick this up. Trust me. I'm not sure Kidrobot's going to be putting it online during Comic-Con. So if you're not able to make it to San Diego Comic-Con, you might want to check out their website. But if you are going to San Diego Comic-Con, this is probably a figure you want to pick up for your collection. So Symbiote Studios is also having a little plush too, and I just want to call this out because it's really funny looking. It is a battle damaged Dinobot from Transformers. I think it's supposed to be Grimlock. I don't know. It looks silly. It has like funny eyeballs on the top. And I have no idea what this is about. But you know what though? I really do like this. It's just a silly little gag gift. This is going to cost about $29.99 from Symbiote Studios. But I just want to shout this out because it was really silly looking when I saw it. All right, next up we have PX Exclusive Diamond Select Toys. So we got a couple of really cool ones from them. So first up we have for San Diego Exclusive is a PVC 1/8 statue of Batman for the DC heroes. This statue is really awesome. It is like a actual like sketch design of Batman, and it's actually based off the design of Neil Adams. I love these. I've been actually collecting a lot more of these figures that are like sketch designs. They're really neat looking. I love having the detail and the texture in there. So if you're a fan of these figures, I'm going to recommend you go pick these up. This first one's up with Batman, and we're also going to be getting a Superman one also, and this one is based off the design of John Byrne for the Man of Steel miniseries that he wrote. Both of these figures are amazing. Both are probably the most iconic looking designs for these figures. You know, Neil Adams Batman, John Byrne Superman. Everything about this I love. These figures are really cool. Price tag, they're getting about an SRP of $85. I don't know if that's the actual price to be set in stone. But you know what though? These are really cool. And I've been debating whether or not I'm going to pick up one of these two. I do collect a lot of Batman and Superman. If I don't get a Superman one, I pretty much might be getting a Batman one. And it actually might go really well over there. Let me know what you think. That would look pretty cool right there, wouldn't it? I don't know. I think so. So, in addition, they have a couple of little more action figures they're coming out with. We're also going to be getting a Kite Man Funko Pop PX previews. This one is limited to 25,000 pieces. And it's not just going to be available at Comic-Con. It's going to be available everywhere. They sell PX Preview exclusive figures. We're also beginning some Spider-Punk lunch bins with the thermoses. These are pretty cool too. These are going to be limited to 2,500 only. So that's a very small count. They'll be charging $25 for this little set. So you get the actual tin and you'll get the little beverage holder with it too. I don't know. I like these. I'm a big fan of the Spider-Punk character from Across the Spider-Verse. You know, if you are too, I'm gonna recommend you probably want to pick one of these up. And last but not least, we're getting an exquisite Super Cursed Earth Judge Dredd figure. And you know what? This thing is really awesome looking. If you don't know who Judge Dredd is, I recommend you go read up on him. Do not watch the movie of Judge Dredd. Well, don't watch the Sylvester Stallone version. You can watch the newer version with Carl Urban. But do not watch the Sylvester Stallone version. It'll make you hate Rob Schneider more, and it'll make you hate Sylvester Stallone some. It's not great, to be honest. But the Carl Urban version, pretty kick-ass. So, but no, this figure is really cool looking. It's going to cost you about $90 though. And it's limited to only 1,000 pieces. That's very limited. I think if you're a fan of Judge Dredd and you love the figures, you love the statue too, I would pick this up. I would definitely pick this up and have it in my collection. And coming up to the last few items. So, top of the show, I asked you what did Jimmy Donaldson and Jimmy Buffett have in common? Well, guess what? Well, here it is. Here's the first part of it. We are getting a Jimmy Buffett action figure from Mattel. Yes, this figure is based off his little minor cameo from the Jurassic World movie, where he's like running around with 2 margaritas in his hand. Get it? Margaritaville, Buffett. Pretty funny. I'm laughing inside, to be honest. Just dying from laughter inside. But this figure, it comes with Jimmy Buffett. He's like sitting in like a margarita glass. There's a pterodactyl flying around his head, and he has like an actual blender he also comes into. It's pretty silly. I love it when Mattel does little like goofy figures like this. I have up in my collection. I have a Steven Spielberg scene that they did last year for San Diego Comic-Con. I love that figure. One of my favorite things. So you know what? Having this figure is going to be really cool to have as part of your collection. As for the Jimmy Buffett figure, this is going to be coming in at $30. Also, we're getting from Mattel is a WWE Ultimate Edition Shawn Michaels figure. This figure is from the WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match. This is a really cool figure. If you're a fan of WWE, you're a fan of Shawn Michaels, this is going to be a really cool figure to add to your collection. It's going to be a little pricey, coming in at $45. And last but not least, coming from Mattel, we're also be getting a mini Mojo Dojo Casa House. Yes, this is Kent's new rendition of the Barbie Dream House that we get in the Barbie movie. It's pretty funny. It has everything that you see in the movie. It's a miniature, kind of like a smaller version of like the Barbie Dream House. So you know what though, if you love the Barbie movie and that made you laugh seeing the Mojo Dojo Casa House, I would say probably want to pick this one up. It's going to cost you about $50, and it's only going to be available at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, however, when I say that, like with Hasbro, some of the extra stock for Mattel does show up on their Mattel Creations website. So I would recommend that you join Mattel Creations, and you might want to pick them up there in either the pre-order or when they do release, because they will sell out fast. The pre-orders will actually go really fast too. So if they're still out there, I would recommend picking them up now. These don't have a piece count on them right now, so you don't know how many they've made. But you know what, though? It never hurts to pick one up, especially if you really, really want one of these figures. And last but not least, now this is from Moose Toys. A couple of different vinyl figures featuring, actually this is not really featuring, but they're from Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast himself, Mr. Beast toys. I know. I believe these are probably the very first Mr. Beast toys. I don't believe he has any U2s or any figures of himself or of the Panther. So these are going to be his very first figures. So he is actually working with Moose Toys to create the Mr. Beast Lab collection. Okay, let me back up a little bit on this. So he is having a collection of toys and figures that are actually going to hit the US market in July and then worldwide after that. But it's only going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. We'll be able to pick up these very much unique figures. So the first figure is a Mr. Beast Lab Fuzzy Panther vinyl figure. And this one is only to be limited to 3,000 pieces. And it's going to cost you $24.99. And I'm going to guarantee that these are going to sell out really fast. You know how popular Mr. Beast is? He's probably the most highest subscribed YouTuber out there right now. And yeah, these are going to fly off the shelf over there at Comic-Con. So if you want to grab one of these, and they look pretty cool. I do like the little figure. You know, I believe they're going to be about 3.5 inches, which is about the size of a Funko Pop. So got a little Funko Pop here. So they're probably about this big. That's how big the figure is going to be. If you're a fan of Mr. Beast, this is something you want to add to your collection. And it makes me curious. Will he be at San Diego Comic-Con this year? I don't know. There's no announcements. But they're launching his new toy line. I wonder if he'll be there. And could we win a car? Or $1 million? Anyways, so that's pretty cool. And I'm going to be happening at San Diego Comic-Con this year. But that isn't the only Mr. Beast figure. We're also getting a Mr. Beast action figure too. So this is going to be the Mr. Beast Lab Alpha Panther action figure. This is pretty cool looking. A lot of detail went to this figure. And it has like a little like lab type design for the box, and the figure's in the middle of it. Pretty cool. I do like this a little bit. But this one you're probably going to be able to get in more places. This one is going to cost you $22.99. It is limited to 2,250 pieces. And this figure is not only going to be available at San Diego Comic-Con, but it's also going to be available for the Walmart Collectible Con. I don't know exactly when that is. I'll have to look that up. If I do, I'll post this dates here on the screen. That's where this figure is going to be available at. So you have 2 opportunities to pick it up. But you know what, though? If you are going to grab this figure, I'm pretty much going to recommend you head over to San Diego Comic-Con and pick it up there. And again, this is going to be through Moose Toys Collectibles. I know I'm probably going to pick up a vinyl figure for my collection. You know, I collect a lot of designer toys, like I've said in the past. So it's going to be going up there on the wall behind me. So I can't wait to add it to my collection. All right. I know that was a lot of information for San Diego Comic-Con. That was all the stuff that was released this week. We still have a few more weeks left before San Diego Comic-Con, so there's going to be a lot more announcements coming up. So stay tuned to this channel. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. If you're enjoying content like this, you want to learn more about many of the collectibles that are coming to San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to be seeing a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, this is only the beginning. We're beginning of July. Expect a lot of big announcements. And remember, guys, leave me a comment down section below. Were any of these collectibles did you like? Are you going to be picking up any of these collectibles? Let me know in the comment section down below. Remember to hit the like and subscribe if you're enjoying content like this. You want to see more videos talking about exclusives and collectibles. And until next time, this is JD with the Figgy Pop Collector Channel.
That concludes a Figgy Pop transmission.